Hey guys! So we have completed the first very exciting day at the Gartner Symposium 2018 here in Barcelona. We're sitting at some nice bodega after work. So how does it feel? How do you feel about the first day?
It was a good day. It was a good opening day. Good, strong opening day. What do you think?
Yeah, I think actually quite interesting sessions. I tried different industries and it was impressive to see how they land on their digital transformation, and the maturities are so different and unique, so it was definitely interesting.
Yeah, I would agree. It was a first day that was quite interesting. The main focal point from my perspective was that they talked about a lot of transformation, but real transformation in that sense. Also nice to have a culture aspect, I will come back to that later, but also seeing that a lot of industry was represented from a public perspective. So that was nice.
So all in all, I mean, a lot of inspiration already the first day, but I guess still looking forward to three and a half more days. After this one.
Intensive days. I think one thing, the pattern from last year is even clearer now. It seems like more and more non-IT people come to these events. I think we see a lot of business development people and operations people, which is, I think, is a sign that a lot of things are happening now in terms of broadening the responsibility of the digital question.
Really interesting. So you will have more of the business and IT combined, or the business needs driving the technology.
Yeah, I would totally agree. I would say the future has less roles or titles put together with it. It's going to be more how do your organization adapts to the challenges. Because I saw also the same. Because this is one keynote was about the open question: is the CIO role still necessary? And the answer to that was yes, it is, but it looks quite different prior to what has been in the past. I think that was a good summarization of the whole experience today.
Good.
And very diverse, very diverse.
And if we look into, I mean, let's say today's content into more depth. Okay, Nelema, you're here to cover analytics and AI for Centigo. What are your top 3 takeaways from today?
I actually not only covered a little bit of AI and analytics, I also tried to cover related technology today, because it was the first day to kind of connect the digital transformation back to the AI story and also look at robotics automation a bit. But very interestingly, from all the sessions, I have kind of 3 different takeaways or learnings, as you can call it. The first one is a digital session where the keynote speaker emphasized about the fact that everybody is talking about digital transformation. That's well and great, but what is happening is after the pilot phase everybody stops. The reason is how do you actually change the organization to think in the direction of digital transformation. So change management, governance are the typical words used, but it actually scares people because it looks like it's a longer duration kind of programs. So she introduced a word saying that pair digital transformation with entrepreneurship. That means how can you make business from digital transformation. So the word entrepreneurship did not look as long as change management or governance process. It's quick wins, making P&L from what you're building in your digital transformation agenda, and it's easy for people to adapt. So I think that was a great way of putting digital transformation and change management. The second learning I had today was how do you approach AI, and there are 4 R's of approaching AI, but what I really liked is 2 of them very much. One is reposition AI. That basically means if somebody is afraid that robots is going to take away your job, please change that thinking to reposition it, saying that it's going to be an enabler to you. And that's when people will be open to accept the use of AI within the organization. The other learning and the other R was restrict. And this is, I strongly believe, is very important, because we can do a lot of things with artificial intelligence. Coming next 20 years, we would be able to do a lot of different things. But where do you want to stop? Where do you want to still let people do what they like to do? And where you let machines do stuff which you don't like to do? That's the restriction part, which is absolutely brilliant. Then I got into a robotics and automation session, and as a AI and robotics and part, I have been doing a lot of projects where people directly connect process automation and robotics to process redesign. And the keynote speaker said, please understand that robotics process automation is not process redesign. Why? Because human beings look at process differently. Things which are very easy for a human might be extremely difficult for robots. Things are absolutely difficult for human can be done by robots faster. So if you start doing process re-engineering and assuming that will help your robotization project, that might be a wrong assumption. So always look at process re-engineering on a robotics context, then your roadmap, your approach would be fairly different. So these are the 3 takeaways.
Very interesting. So then we turn to Mikael, covering digital growth for us here at the symposium. So what are your key takeaways from today?
Yeah, I actually have 3 observations. One major part of today's sessions was the influential part of culture being the one main driver in all organizations in regarding that sort of true digital transformation. And one good side is that from that observation is also that IT is not an issue or a threat anymore. I think that was from the analysis, they were the least likely to be a part of the transformation or a threat towards transformation. But the biggest thing is the actual broad culture within the organization to actually achieve that transformation. I think that's a huge part, and also stands for how we actually going to approach that and work with that sort of questions in the future. Secondly, we moved into what last year was called digital twin, and we actually saw really clear user cases of the industry. In this comes from Siemens, who actually emphasized the importance of visualizing and testing stuff in a digital lab environment, rather than just making a full-scale development to readjust the business. One example was that the autonomous cars have driven 1.4 billion kilometers. That wouldn't be possible in another part rather than in digital labs. They also concluded that that was also apparent for the biomedicine and pharmaceutical industries, but also across all industries, I would say, to make that sort of testing in a digital lab environment before actually putting it out there. I think that was concrete and very detailed. Lastly, main observation was in regards of KPIs, that maybe the question from the stage was maybe MPS isn't good enough anymore. We need to dwell deeper down into different sections, going both internally and externally in regards of how we measure actual things. Both the internal organization, the customer experience, the transformational things we actually do, product innovation of product and services, and how we detail that to make it more relevant. And also, of course, as usual, visualize that to the appropriate people within the organization and make that sort of handmade or tailor-made for each observation group. That was sort of my biggest takeaways, and also, as Nelma said, public sector was overrepresented in that sense. Thank you.
Okay, now I'm turning to you, Ludwig, covering business and tech strategy for us here at the symposium. So what are your key takeaways from today?
Well, of course, as always, the first day is tough. a lot of travel, right? Tired. But as I mentioned before, there was a lot of nice perspectives around business getting more involved in technology. I think one of the most interesting things that I think I can drive out of this is that digitalization, this hot topic that has been on everyone's mouth for the past 4 years, is really when business wants to talk IT. Digitalization, the big question, what is digitalization? It's all about when business really wants to talk IT. That is the big thing. We're seeing that now. A lot of people coming down here from all kinds of business functions, and they're talking about how to grow businesses based on technology. That is digitalization. And I think in my mind that is the definition of it. It's no longer IT or requirements or aligning IT. It's actual growing business based on technology. And there are so many cool ways of doing it. And the coolest presentation I went to today was there was this guy. He was head of cybersecurity of the National Health System in UK, the big national-wide healthcare system provider. He's head of cybersecurity and architecture, and he was talking about the big technology vision that they just have decided upon. And it said, internet first, bam. Secondly, public cloud, bam. Thirdly, cybersecurity frameworks, top class. And that is such a huge difference from what we hear back home in Sweden. In Sweden, public cloud, scary, can't use that, not safe. Here you have the security officer about cyber is saying that we're going to public cloud, make no mistake about it. It's going to happen, and we're just not there yet. I had the privilege to talk with DIG, the new Swedish Anna Eriksson, and CIO of Kronofogden, Johanna Kares. Hopefully we get an interview with them tomorrow. But they were saying, well, the lawyers say no in Sweden. The lawyers say no. And this is making Sweden fall behind. Because you can leverage so much more on those technologies with the cloud, the public clouds, at a decent cost, with a higher security than you can offer or build capabilities on your own. And I think that needs to change, and it needs to change quickly back home. I think that's the biggest takeaway. I was in awe, actually.
So you're saying that UK is ahead of the game compared to Sweden? And
Yes.
then you actually talk about the public sector.
Yes, I am. A lot of public sector on Sunday. Tomorrow I think it's going to be more other industries, which is going to be just as exciting. But it was a good day.
Thanks, Ludwig, for sharing.